Imagine a library locked for 2,000 years. Inside, there are books covered in dust. These are the texts the church did not want you to see. They chose the Bible stories of hope and light, but they burned the stories of darkness. They banned books that spoke of monsters, magic rings, forbidden technology, and a version of Jesus that is terrifying. They called them heresy. They tried to erase them from history, but they failed. Today, we open the forbidden pages, from the diary of a fallen angel to the book where Judas is the hero. Here are 7 books the church tried to destroy. Number 1, the Book of Enoch. The Standard Bible mentions sons of God coming to earth, but it stops there. The Book of Enoch tells the rest of the story, and it is a nightmare. It describes the Watchers, 200 angels who disobeyed God. They landed on Mount Hermon to take human wives, but they brought something dangerous: technology. Before these angels, humans lived simply. The Book of Enoch says the angels taught men how to make swords and shields. They taught women magic and how to use potions. The result was chaos. The children of these angels were the Nephilim, giants. They were violent and hungry. They ate all the food, and then they began to hunt humans and drink their blood. The early church was afraid of this book. It focused too much on demons. By the 4th century, they banned it, but the Ethiopian church hid it, preserving the dark truth about the origins of evil. Number 2, the Apocalypse of Peter. When you think of hell, you imagine specific punishments, but the Bible is actually very vague about hell. Those scary images come from books like the Apocalypse of Peter. This text was found buried in Egypt. Early Christians read it, but church leaders soon realized it was too graphic. It was like a horror movie. While other books talked about the end of the world, this book gave a guided tour of hell. Peter describes brutal punishments. He sees liars hanging by their tongues over fire. He sees murderers thrown into a pit of snakes. He sees rich people dressed in dirty rags rolling on sharp stones forever. The goal was to scare people into being good, but the church decided it was too heavy. They wanted a religion of forgiveness, not a catalog of torture. So, they removed it. Number 3, the Gospel of Judas. For 2,000 years, Judas has been the ultimate villain, the traitor. But in the 1970s, a crumbling book was found in a cave. It was sold on the black market and hidden in a vault. When it was finally translated, it shocked the world. This is the Gospel of Judas. Here, Judas is not the villain. He is the hero. The text claims Jesus had a secret plan. He needed to die to escape his human body, but he couldn't do it alone. He needed someone strong enough to hand him over to the Romans. Jesus takes Judas aside and gives him this secret mission. He tells him, "You will be cursed," but asks him to do it anyway. This implies Judas was the only disciple who truly understood Jesus. The church hated this. A book that made the traitor a saint was dangerous. They tried to ban it in the year 180, but the desert kept it safe. Number 4, the Book of Giants. If the Book of Enoch was scary, this is worse. Found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Book of Giants tells the story from the monster's perspective. In the Bible, giants are just enemies. Here, they have names, Oya and Haya, and they are having nightmares. They dream of a tablet where names are being washed away by water. They dream of a garden where a gardener cuts down every tree except one. They are terrified. They realize these are warnings. The flood is coming. They ask Enoch to interpret the dreams. The answer is death. The book also details their violence. It describes giants attacking animals and humans, drinking blood, and causing destruction. The church likely destroyed this book because it belonged to a rival religion. They wanted to silence the competition. Number 5. The Infancy Gospel of Thomas. We know Jesus as a baby and as a man, but what was he like as a child? The Infancy Gospel of Thomas answers this, and it is disturbing. This book describes a young Jesus who has the power of a god but the emotions of a child. He is dangerous. In one story, Jesus makes birds out of clay. A man yells at him for working on the Sabbath. Jesus claps his hands, and the clay birds come to life and fly away. But then it gets dark. A child runs past and bumps Jesus. Jesus gets angry. He says, "You shall go no further." The child falls down dead. The villagers are terrified. They scream at Joseph, Jesus' father. They say, "You cannot live here with us." The church rejected this. They wanted a perfect, gentle Messiah. They did not want a story about a volatile boy who hurt people. Number 6. The Testament of Solomon King. Solomon was famous for wisdom, but in legend, he was the master of demons. The Testament of Solomon reads like a manual for magic. The story starts with a demon attacking a boy building the temple. The demon sucks the boy's energy. Solomon prays for help. An archangel gives Solomon a magic ring, the seal of Solomon. It has a pentagram. With this ring, Solomon enslaves the demons. He summons Beelzebub, the prince of demons. He forces them to reveal their names and weaknesses. Then, he puts them to work. He forces demons to cut stones to build the temple of God. This mixes prayer with magic. The church strictly forbids magic. A book showing a biblical hero using a magic ring to command hell's army was unacceptable. Number 7. The Wars of the Lord. The final book is the biggest mystery. The other books, we found them. But this one, it has vanished. We know it existed because the Bible tells us so. In Numbers chapter 21, the Bible says, "Therefore it is said in the book of the wars of the Lord." That is the only trace we have. Scholars believe it contained epic poems about battles, but some think it described cosmic wars, battles between God and chaos that were too strange for history books. Was it destroyed on purpose? Was it lost in a fire? We will never know. It remains a ghost in the library of history. These books remind us that history is written by the winners. The Bible is a selected collection, but in the shadows, these other stories survived. They show us fear, magic, and complexity. The church tried to bury them. But as long as we are curious, the truth will never stay hidden. Which book would you read? Tell me in the comments. Subscribe for more dark history. See you next time.